Boys, girls, all my troubles out there, welcome back. It's Out Robert. This is Joe, and this is just a review slash reaction slash off the cuff kind of discussion with The Walking Dead Season 7 mid-season finale. Heart still beating. And that's the perfect way to put it. I'm going to talk spoilers throughout this entire thing. So if you have not seen the episode, go check out the episode, come back, because you don't want to know what happens. So you've been warned. If you're watching now, hopefully you've seen Heart Still Beating. I'm starting right with the ending. I'm going to get to whatever I can in this video. I'm not going to try to make it go too long, but I thought the perfect way to end this half of the season was with showing all the characters individually, because that's how the season started. You know, we get the bat, we get Lucille in everyone's face, where we see the fear. Contrast that with how this ended. We see all of them with smiles and hope, and it's just such a bittersweet moment. Such a the theme fits, right? I mean, I was saying this last season. I thought it was going to be Abraham and Glenn just because of who they were. They were the beacons of hope. Glenn especially was. And Abraham started to become that way towards the end of the season. And I said, what better way to start off the season than with smashing those beacons of hopes, literally. And that's what Negan did. He smashed the beacons of hope. However, this season ends with hope. And I thought that was a great thematic finale for this half of the season. They really told a story from episode 1 to episode 8. And I'm sure it'll make sense with 1 through 16. But this served its own story so well. They could have done that for a season. I'm glad they didn't, because that probably would have stretched a little bit much. I know people were complaining too much Negan, which I don't get that, but that's just me. Plus, also, now we have the revolt. Now we have them revolting and rebelling against Negan. And if they just kind of did that right away, or they didn't really show Negan's mannerisms and really hit home with who Negan was, it wouldn't have made... It's not that it wouldn't have made sense, but it wouldn't have had the impact that it does now. We've seen Negan. We've known what he's about. We know what a despicable character he is, and he's already taken away, 4 characters from us? Glenn, Abraham, Olivia, and Spencer? And, I mean, I know that nobody cares about Spencer, but... And you know what the giveaway with him was? I mean, everyone says comics, but just in the TV show alone, want to get dinner tonight. That was that was like, okay, yeah, you're done. But I just want to say, since that scene just reminded me of Rosita and what a story she's had this season, right? I mean, really, kudos to the writing for Rosita alone, because Rosita is a character that we've seen since season 4, but not really seen. She never really had her own story until now, and then unfortunately she led to things going pretty ugly. But she's a great character, and we can really thank the writing for the season for really giving us this character with Rosita, because it feels like a new character at this point with what we have with Rosita. And Gabriel, wow, I've been saying this from the beginning with Gabriel. I've been saying since back my other channel, season 4 went what was he, season 5? Yeah, I think it was 5, because it was with like the whole Terminus thing. But season 5, when we met Gabriel, everyone hated him. And I said he's the character you love to hate, but I loved his type of character being there. The one who gets by kind of that sneaky personality, and it was cool seeing, because that's essentially what Spencer had. So to see Gabriel evolve to this point, and to see him, and we've seen him in a previous episode of the season really have that conversation with Spencer, and seeing that contrasting style of, that's essentially what Gabriel was. And I mean, Gabriel's just a true treat today. To me, he comes off the Dale, the Herschel, the ear to listen to everything, the one who gives good advice. He listens, and I think that's an important character to have. I think you need that wisdom on the show, that figure that kind of imposes wisdom and lends lends an ear um, to characters going through situations. So I think Gabriel's an important character to have right now. And I'm really glad that Gabriel's at this point. And I could see a lot of people liking Gabriel now, even after everything, with people hating Gabriel for the longest time. I love Gabriel. I've loved Gabriel since the beginning. I think the writing's always been great for him. I think the acting's been great for him. I think he's a fun character to have, and he's really evolved. But wow, Negan, right? I mean, I already got into it. We needed this, right? We needed this. This really pushed it over the limit. Just the entire scene, everything built up, and it felt like everything built up from this half of the season. We had Daryl leaving. We had Maggie kind of as president of Hilltop. This season, this episode felt like a perfect build-up, and Negan, his actions there, put it over the top. And Rick said, I see that now. And like I said, had we not had the earlier episodes, that wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have had the impact that it did now. So I think that's storytelling at its finest. I think you really make us despise Negan, which they pretty much did. Which is hard because the writing for him is just so good that it's hard to hate him. You like him and hate him at the same time because he's so damn good on screen. But Eugene being taken, we get Daryl back, and they take Eugene. That's gonna be ugly. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Eugene. That's gonna be interesting. I don't think it's gonna look good for Eugene. I don't know. I have a bad feeling about it. I don't know if Eugene's going to make it out of the rest of the season. I think probably he won't be around. Maybe you'll see him once or twice during the next half of the season, but then I think towards the end, I think he's going to die in the finale. So I'm calling it right now. You all watching, you're witnesses. I'm calling Eugene dying in the finale, which is a shame because excuse me, because he's another fun character. And I'm really glad that he's stuck around for as long as he has. So we'll see with that. But really, the last thing I want to say is, because like I said, I'm trying to keep this kind of short. I don't want to go too long with this. I mean, we could talk about this forever. So I know I'm missing points, and I'm sorry. So we can talk about it down below. But who's watching Rick? Who's watching Rick and Aaron? Is this a new character? I don't know. I'm starting to think it's... why am I forgetting his name? The guy from Kingdom. I'm not cutting this up. The guy from Kingdom. I know his name. I'm forgetting it right now. I know everyone's correcting me right now in the comments. Just having my blank. But the soldier from Kingdom who spoke with Morgan and Carol. I think it might be him. I think it makes sense. I don't know who else it could be. I've been saying since season 1, bring back the guy who left. There was a character who, in season 1, if you all remember, he was in the group, and then he went off with his family. And last time we saw him, he was alive. He went off with his family. They were fine. They took a car or something. I'm saying bring him back just for the hell of it, right? Because that's. That story never ended, right? That was season 1. It'd be cool to see someone from season 1, right? I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't know why or how he'd make it there and years later still at that point. I don't know. I'm just saying it would be nice. But I'm very curious. I think it's just ultimately going to be the guy from the Kingdom. Richard. Boom. Richard's who I'm talking about. I knew I was going to get... I kept wanting to say... Randall or Randy, but that's the guy from season 2. Richard. I think it's Richard. I think it's Richard that sees them, and that's probably eventually what's going to lead to them meeting. Maybe what Richard did was a kind of a trap or something. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's Richard though who's watching them. That's all I'm going to say for this week's episode of The Walking Dead. I'll see you guys when season 7 continues. I believe February. It's gonna feel like so long. I'm gonna try and do Walking Dead episode, maybe Walking Dead video, maybe 2, maybe what to expect in the latter half of season 7. I don't know if you guys have any ideas. Let me know. I'm always down to make video and discuss this with you. I'm looking forward to season 7 and 8. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode and this half of the season. I know it's been very mixed. I, for one, have been a big fan of season 7A. I think it built nicely. I thought it was more interesting than we've had in a long time. So that's, excuse me, that's all I'm going to say for this week's episode. Let me know what you guys thought, and subscribe. These things aren't that much effort to do so. Until next time, you have been